Thank you so much for inviting me here to speak about innovation in the arts. I'll be coming at this from the point of view of being a performer as opposed to a career administrator. Although nowadays, being a performer also means you have to be an administrator to some extent, in the sense that all performers have to be the CEO of their own brand. Someone who I believe is a true innovator of the arts is David Goggly, who recently retired as General Director of the San Francisco Opera. Before that, he took over Houston Grand Opera in 1972, when it was a run-of-the-mill regional opera company here in the US. By the time he left in 2005, that's 33 years later, Houston Grand Opera had been transformed into an international-level opera company, attracting the world's greatest singers. David Goggly did this by championing new works like Carlisle Floyd's opera Susanna, introducing plaza casts and outdoor performances, and establishing a prestigious singer training program. This, to me, is innovation in the arts. In his recent interview with Opera News, David Goggly ends by saying, "I don't envy my successors. Unless they can find a way to engage a very distractible, multi-interest, transient-minded public, to attend opera more frequently, to go from attenders to donors to bequeathers, and engage these generations who have not had musical training in schools and much background at all unless their parents happen to take them, we won't survive." I'll admit, a twinge of concern came over me when I read that. When I came across this Opera News article, I was a recent co-founder of New Camerata Opera. New Camerata Opera is a newly formed opera company based in New York City, whose mission is to broaden the reach of opera to current and future generations by offering a wide range of repertoire through both live performance and digital media channels. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the core of our mission. Now, one of the most practical and basic obligations that go hand in hand with this mission is filling the theater with people. And as we have been developing New Camerata Opera, we've come to realize that not only do we have to figure out how to bring people to the theater, we have to strategize about how to bring the theater to the people. David Goggly's generation has handed the baton to our generation, and it's our charge to carry it forward throughout the course of humanity. One way that New Camerata Opera is doing this is by posting online content vigorously, both casual content and formal content, via digital media channels. From social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to online platforms such as YouTube, New Camerata Opera is creating a buzz. Now, if you think about all of the people walking around, sitting in the subway, or just hanging out at home connected to their devices, it's not hard to imagine the opportunities for broadening the reach of opera. One branch of New Camerata Opera, Camerata Piccola, is dedicated to developing and marketing opera for students from early childhood through high school. When we were in the midst of our Indiegogo campaign this past July, we wanted to highlight this part of our mission. So we posted a video of children singing along with some of the music of our first children's opera, Peter Rabbit. Here is a short excerpt.
A pretty little garden, rows of cabbages, as far as my eye can see. Old McGregor's watching like a bird of prey. He could make a meat pie out of me.
I have to give a shout out to my one-year-old son, who my nephews are holding there. So the point is not to try to turn these kids into opera singers. We simply want to satisfy their natural love for music and storytelling. Little do they know that one of our company members, Stan Lacey, has adapted Beatrix Potter's story, Peter Rabbit, into a 30-minute children's opera using the music from Donizetti's classic opera, The Elixir of Love, and that they are in fact singing the melody of the aria Quanto è bella, quanto è cara. When I was approaching the Brooklyn Public Library about the possibility of presenting Peter Rabbit in one of their branches, I was able to send a link to this video to help pitch the project. That got the ball rolling, and we're now going to be performing Peter Rabbit 2 times at the Central Library branch in Brooklyn. This is a perfect example of how casual content can help to develop the 3 E's: engage, excite, educate. It's out there, we're adding to it all the time, and we have plans for much more sophisticated online content. Because we are all so connected via our devices, fads and fashions spread like wildfire. For instance, the current huge popularity of online cat videos and pictures. We want to, nay, we need to tap into and exploit this connectedness if we are to spread opera to the masses, and as David Goggly put it, to survive. As we are wont to do, some new Camerata Opera company members were brainstorming and thought about the idea of making up words to describe these popular themes and current news, and then overlaying those words onto famous opera arias and ensembles, and then posting those videos to YouTube in the hopes of those videos going viral. If that happens, that's a great way for us, new Camerata Opera, to gain a following and also to build new opera audiences. So here's a short sample of this updated aria concept based on today's popular obsession with creatures of the feline persuasion.
This one's angry, while that one is fat, and this one's thin. This one's fluffy, and that one is awesome. This one's purple, while that one is pink and green. None of these shades of fur in nature occur. But I like, and I click, and I post and share, and I'll snap a special cat just for you. Hope you see now why I love cats: Siamese, calico, Maine Coon, and Russian blue, and hairless ones too. I really want one, but I'm allergic.
That aria is from Verdi's masterpiece, Rigoletto. And we're obviously gunning for as much entertainment value as we can muster. Hopefully, Verdi is not spinning in his grave too quickly. But I'm sure that he would forgive us because our intentions are good. In fact, at a recent meeting between New Camerata Opera and a high-level business strategist, one of the things we were playing around with is our mission statement, and how it could be something as simple as making opera fun. Now, I actually think that one of the ways we can do that is by delivering opera to the masses via their devices. Now, please don't get me wrong. For the record, opera is a live art form, and ultimately we perform for a live audience. We are stage animals, and there's nothing like the impact of a live performance, which is why Camerata Piccola is such a vital part of our identity. However, we cannot deny the power of the modern-day delivery system. When I was a young whippersnapper, I remember watching a rerun of The Odd Couple on television, where Marilyn Horne was singing the habanera from Bizet's opera Carmen. Her stage presence and the power of the music had me completely hypnotized. I was engaged, excited, and educated, much more so, in fact, than when I went to see La Bohème in New York City at the Metropolitan Opera when I was a senior here at GeorgeSchool. Today, La Bohème is one of my favorite operas, but at that time it just went right over my head, probably because from our seats up in the nosebleed section, the physical separation between me and what was happening on the stage was simply too much to overcome. How very, very interesting then, fascinating in fact, that a rerun of The Odd Couple on the small screen could do something that perhaps the greatest opera house in the world could not do: suck a newcomer into the world of opera. In terms of New Camerata Opera's most sophisticated online content to date, the granddaddy of our digital push, we're going to be commissioning 10-minute opera shorts. I'm talking about a 10-minute opera, which we are going to commission specifically to be posted on YouTube. We're going to call it, you guessed it, YouTube opera shorts. Now, I would describe this as an operatic music video. We're going to professionally pre-record the audio in a studio, which will then be acted and lip-synced by the singers with professional camera work and lighting, so that the final result is a polished product that can compete with the onslaught of content available today. To reference David Goggly, unless we can find a way to engage a very distractible, multi-interest, transient-minded public to attend opera more frequently, we won't survive. Now, think of the internet as a blank digital canvas, a new frontier of sorts. We can commission a YouTube opera short to dramatize a day in the life of a struggling artist, a bully who's learned his lesson, a narrative that highlights the societal obstacles facing the LGBTQ community, a video game creator who falls in love with his creation. The possibilities are as endless as the demographics that visit YouTube, which is practically all of them. New Camerata Opera has in fact commissioned an as of yet untitled work, which is being composed for us by Peter Engelbert with a libretto by Adam Leighton Wilson. So please stay tuned for this extremely exciting project. Now, I'd like to close by commenting on why delivering opera to the masses matters to me, and why I think it should matter to you. Another group that I'm a member of is called Opera Collective, whose mission is to make opera accessible. Over the last 11 years, the way we've done that more than any other is by singing underground in the New York City subway through the Metropolitan Transit Authority's Music Under New York program. I've seen firsthand, countless times, a passerby being stopped cold in their tracks by what they heard. And I could tell easily when it was an opera aficionado stopping to hear their favorite aria, or more interestingly, much more impressively, when it was someone who had never heard anything like it in their entire life. They were rushing to catch the A train. They ended up catching a majorly pleasant surprise instead. It reminds me of the movie Excalibur, after King Arthur drinks from the Holy Grail and he says, "I never realized how empty my soul was until it was filled." It's nothing short of a crime for these fruits to go untasted and rot on the vine. Sure, not everyone will become an opera fan, but many, many will. And at least those who decide it's not for them have had a taste. Everyone deserves that. The music deserves that. That moment of discovery when a person experiences opera in a meaningful way for the first time can be described as, if not transformational, at the very least memorable. And that's a start. That's what we're trying to do. New Camerata Opera wants to interface humanity with art. We want to deliver opera written by the geniuses of the past and perhaps those of the future to unsuspecting souls hungry for something which words cannot describe. And if delivering it via a Facebook post or a YouTube video or within the guise of an opera video game or looking 2 centuries down the road implanting a hologram chip in the middle of your right eyeball is what it takes, then that's what we're going to do. We have to. Mozart did not write Don Giovanni for it to go unheard. Puccini did not write Madame Butterfly for it to go unfelt. Fill in the blank is not going to write fill in the blank for it to go unloved. Now, please excuse the simple analogy, but think of YouTube as a subway platform of sorts, and YouTube opera shorts as a digital version of Music Under New York, just waiting to grab the attention of anyone who will watch and listen. This is New Camerata Opera, thinking outside the box, advocating for arts and education. Thank you very much.
Thank you.